Hi, welcome to Deuces. In today's video, I'll be going over 30 different interior and exterior designs for your bases. So I've split these 30 into 3 different groups. Each will have 10 different builds, and I will try and go over and explain how they are all made. So let's go ahead and start with the first zone, which is house interior. To begin, we have a pretty simple fridge design. This is just using the normal quartz blocks as well as levers and one chain. It's pretty basic and can be used in a lot of different things. It can also be used in more like interior design, industrial interior design, like a freezer room or something. So this is a pretty simple design that you can use for a ton of different things. But like I said, pretty simple to make and not super resource heavy. Next up, we have the original TV design. You may recognize this from the house level video from a few months ago. Pretty basic design. It's just 2 note blocks with buttons on them, 2 stairs, and then black wool with trapdoors on top. And then behind these trapdoors, there's just a chest, which can be used for extra storage. And then just one of the original couch designs here with just some spruce stairs, and then you wrap it in spruce signs. Is a bit larger, so you're going to need a bit more space to create it, but overall, still pretty simple to recreate, and also, once again, not entirely resource heavy. Next up, I've mixed a table and my potted plant design. So the potted plant design that I usually uses a composter and a pot with a dead bush and then 2 leaves on top of it. And then I've proceeded to encase it and create this table. So you can also place like a lantern or a torch here if you need to in these 2 middle trapdoors. Since they're placed on the level of the top of the composter, whatever it is, they are placeable. They're not like above it, so you can put things on here, like if you need to, you can put a chest or whatever. But pretty good for decoration, not as much functional compared to just decorative, similar to the fridge over there. Next up, we have a more functional design. This is a chest storage unit that I like to use. Once again, can be seen in the level house video. A lot of these original interior ones are just an explanation of some of the interior designs I did in the house level video. Level 10 was obviously the interior design house. So a lot of these are taken from that for now. This just uses 8 trapdoors and technically 4 chests, 2 double chests each. Pretty simple and not incredibly resource heavy, but does use a little bit of wood because trapdoors require a crap ton of wood for whatever reason. I don't know why they take so much, but it's an insane amount of wood. I'm not really sure that it needs that much. But yeah, just a more functional design, and this can be streamlined. Like, you don't have to have these. You could probably just make a shelf continue and put it there. I like having it on both sides, but it can be expanded or made smaller, just depending on the space you have and how much storage you want in that area. Next, we have like a kitchen counter design. So barrels here for storage, just under, and then you have a cutting board and your knife. This is just the weighted pressure plate using iron, and then an iron frame with an iron sword in it. And then the one from the original house level video, this is all spruce, but it was mixing with the wall, so I changed it into stone. And this was originally a composter in that video, but I changed it to a cauldron to go with the stone. But overall, pretty simple. Just a bunch of stairs and slabs, and then a few trapdoors, as well as either this or a composter, depending on what block you use. Just allows you to have this kind of bin look. And I only have these trapdoors because the bottom of the cauldron has that opening there, and I just didn't want to have it. So yeah, but that is essentially your cutting board / kitchen counter design. And this can definitely be expanded. Like, you could probably put another cauldron here with water in it and a tripwire if you wanted like a sink. But that's up to you, and just use it as you need to. Next up, we have the pretty common bed design that I use. It just uses a lot of slabs and stairs to kind of give it like a encased feel. Using a sign at the end of this makes it seem like it has like an end to the bed, and overall just kind of blends in a bit better than just placing the bed down. It uses a lot of wood, like I said, once again for the trapdoors. Probably not as much as you're thinking, because you really only need to craft stairs 1 time, slabs 1 time. You will need to make 2 sets of signs, because signs I think come out with 3 whenever you craft them. This takes 5. So overall, pretty light on resources, and while it is a bit larger in form of like how long it is, you can pretty easily just remove this slab and push the bed back one, and that would solve that problem for you. Next up, we have a desk design that I like to use, and it also comes with the computer design that I use all the time with the scaffolding and bamboo trapdoor, and then the iron pressure plate and the 1x1 painting, and then the stone mouse for the button. Just using trapdoors here to try and make it thinner, more desk-like. Using the, God, what are they called? I can't remember what they're called. The beehives, that's what they are. And then you can just put the looms backwards with bookshelves to look like empty bookshelves, and that just makes it look like a work desk almost. It's pretty simple, and you know, it doesn't need to be this big. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. A lot of these can be changed to fit those needs, but overall pretty good for decoration, but doesn't serve much of a purpose. Up next, we have like a kitchen stove design. This can be your sink if you don't have it in the little counter thing. And then I just have food here on item frames, and this can actually be functional because you have the smoker here. And then behind these trapdoors, you actually have barrels which act as cabinets. So once again, originally this design was in spruce wood, but because of the background, it's changed. And you really are only able to get this design if you have redstone torches behind the blocks that these trapdoors are on, or using a debug stick in creative mode, which is what I had to use. So yeah, but this campfire will also emit smoke. The original design didn't have this, but I've decided that I like using the campfires on smokers. And I like having the smoke come out every now and then from the campfire. But overall, it's more functional than some of these with the barrels and then the smoker. Does take up quite a bit of room, so I would make sure that you have the space necessary. You can pretty easily cut a block off and just have the cauldron. And you could remove the cauldron if you want, but you will remove one of these barrels for storage when you do that. So it's up to you and just figuring out what space you have for each bit of the build. Next up, I have another desk design here. This is just, you know, 4 bookshelves. It serves no functional purpose. This is another just decorative design with the stripped log or stripped wood. I'm not sure what it's the one that's covered on all sides. I'm not quite sure what it's called. I think it's the wood. Yeah, stripped oak wood. And I used oak because it fits in with the bookshelves the best, because there's no like spruce bookshelf and all that. But pretty simple. You can put your chair here. You can put your computer design here if you need to. But overall, just a pretty simple design. Once again, using the bush design that I like to use with the potted dead bush and the 2 leaves. So just messing around with ideas, and maybe something like this can come along, which is pretty simple but also gets the job done. Finally, I have another plant design similar to the potted plants earlier. This is using trapdoors and moss blocks. I use moss blocks instead of grass blocks here because I don't like having the dirt texture at the bottom of the grass blocks when they're exposed like that. So I just use the moss and then bamboo, and you will have to cut it off with string, otherwise they'll all grow up to like either the same height if you don't want that, or they'll just go until they hit the roof. But overall, just a pretty simple plant decoration design, and it's pretty, like, it only fits in certain circumstances, like probably in more of a greenhouse area or like a planetarium or whatever it's called. But I think it's pretty simple. It's not too hard. I mean, the bamboo will grow on its own, and you can just place the string where you want it to stop. And it's pretty good if you need some more green in your builds. As you can see, it doesn't go like against the spruce, but it doesn't completely blend in just due to the way the leaves are in the bamboo, so it can be easy for your base. That's the home interior section done. That included 10 just interior designs that I've used or found that can be very useful for your builds. Next, we're going to go ahead and turn around and go into more of a industrial theme. So this is a lot of machine ideas that I found. Some of these are original, some of these are found online. But I will be showcasing them here for you to see. First off, we have a pretty simple 2-wide design. A lot of these industrial interior designs are a bit more resource heavy just due to the copper. And then each of these blast furnaces also take 5 iron. So this is a bit more resource heavy because you have the blast furnaces, the copper, and then quite a few of these have these iron trapdoors. Obviously, some of these you may just be using in creative, but if you're doing this in survival, it may take a bit longer just due to having to gather all of the resources. But first off, we have this blast furnace design. I'm not quite sure what it's going for. It has these white stained glass at the top with the iron trap doors, and just using these buttons for a lot of these to try and signal some kind of, I guess, function. Next up, we have this kind of like, I guess, laser scanner. That's what I kind of took it as. I took it as like a laser here. Using an andesite wall. Now, the andesite wall does connect to the back. If you're in creative mode, you can use the debug stick and keep that from happening. But if you're in survival, you'll either not need a block here or you'll need to deal with it. Using a backwards blast furnace here, you can kind of get like this side design compared to having like the main thing over here. But using a cauldron almost as like a stand, and then this, it's just pretty simple. This is another resource heavy one, just due to that, the iron block and the hopper and the cauldron and all of that. This is a heavy core. I think this is part of the new Trials update. I don't know anything about the new Trials update, so I don't know if that's obtainable in survival. Like I said, I don't know anything about the new update. But you know, this may be a more creative based design. If that's not obtainable, I don't know. But yeah. Next up, we have another design. This can be, if you're in like an industrial area, this can be your anvil usage, because this is the only design I have over here, I believe, that has an anvil. So if you're trying to disguise, you know, your functional areas as machines, this can be a good way to use your anvil. It also takes a minecart with a hopper, so it can be a minor storage system as well. Like if you have your enchanting setup nearby, you could probably put like your lapis all in here just to keep it out of the main chests. And then if you need your blast furnace for like iron or whatever to help repair the anvil or something. I'm not sure if you can repair anvils with straight iron like you can iron golems. It would be cool if you could, but I don't think you can. Once again, copper heavy design, quite a lot of iron. I mean, this in general takes more iron than I think this entire built machine over there. But using the lightning rods as well as the potted plants kind of gives like an antenna design almost. I'm not quite sure what to call that. And then we have the tripwire hook over here, which acts almost as like, I guess, a trigger. But once again, more of a lot of these are look designs. They can be considered functional, but a lot of them do not serve a major purpose. But you can, you know, use the blocks that are within it to create a purpose or swap some out. Next up, we have another pretty simple design. As you can see here, I've swapped the floor block where the hopper connects to the floor. This has become chiseled stone brick, just due to how it kind of like forms a circle around where the bottom is. And just kind of, it seems like a transfer chamber almost, or like it pulls it out of the ground and puts it into the furnace. That's what I see it as. Just kind of comes up here through this like glass tube into here, and then transfers through this into here and down into the blast furnace. Obviously, it does not function. You will just have to put it in the blast furnace yourself, but I think that's the general idea behind the machine. So, once again, not a functional design, but can be used for maybe your blast furnace, or, you know, you can hide your coal in this hopper to keep it out of the main chest. So, yeah. Next up, we have another blast furnace-based design. A lot of these are have a blast furnace in them. Just using the campfires here with the acacia trapdoors to create the smoke effect with the cauldrons above it, 2 grindstones here, and then all the copper up top, the blast furnace, and then the hopper once again with a chiseled stone brick around it. But yeah, that's the design. You have the 2 flower pots up here as well to try and give it just to try and keep it from being flat on the top. But you're going to get this a lot where I'm not really able to explain these just due to the weird nature of these kind of interior builds when it comes to industrial design. Next up, we have another machine here. It's, once again, pretty simple. You just use a lot of copper with the tinted glass here. Another blast furnace. This is an observer. Obviously, you have the red side here, not the face side. The face side will be facing the wall. And then you have another tripwire hook here with deep slate tiles. This is another floor change design. and then the cauldron. But overall, once again, pretty simple design, just once again resource heavy. I don't really know what this one is. Once again, just using the copper here, iron heavy on the left side with the flower pots on top. Another wall situation, but I did debug stick this to not connect. Obviously, if you're in survival, that will connect. But just once again, pretty iron heavy with the cauldron and the iron blocks, and then the copper block. Is a lot of these I've realized you're gonna need to be mining for a little bit to do a lot of these, but I think at this point, if you're building industrial, you should be expecting that when you're coming to designing and interior designing. Because I know some industrial builds, they use iron for the outside, and I would never do that because I don't have the patience to mine for that long, and that's why I don't do survival videos. But yeah. Next here, it looks like we have some kind of cleaning station. I believe the grindstone is supposed to act like a wheel that the chain is would technically be wrapped around, and it kind of can pull things up out of the water or dump things into the water. In the cauldron here, once again, the blast furnace, pretty copper heavy, and then just a stone slab and a flower pot. Like I said, not functional, pretty simple, and can be used at your will. Next up, we have like a major furnace design. Obviously you have the lever here. I guess it's almost like a pull lever or something because the way the chain is. Obviously you have your lava back here for cooking. This is once again another non-functional design. This is fully, like, there's no blast furnace in here, so there's completely no function at all. You have your campfire up here, which emits the smoke, and then I've wrapped that in the trapdoors, or sorry, in the signs. You can choose to do the trapdoors if you want, but the trapdoors just felt too blocky at the top for an already pretty blocky design here, so I decided to go with the signs, which I felt fit a bit more. But yeah, pretty simple design, just uses a lot of blackstone bricks here. Obviously this is the only one that's not the bricks. This is just the normal blackstone stairs. You have the 3 chiseled blackstone, and the rest of this is just the normal bricks and then a few stairs. Finally, we have the first major functional design, and this is just like an industrial storage shelf. Just using a lot of iron and chains and all that to try and give it a more industrial feel. Obviously, if you build this, it's not just going to be one, it's probably going to be like 10 of them. And you can make them wider. I wouldn't recommend making them just too wide. I would recommend at least, 4, 6 of the trapdoors, just to make sure you have more room. Because realistically, these industrial shelves are going to be massive and will carry a ton. But I had to fit it within this frame so that I could line up the end of this one. So yeah, but yeah, this is our real only major functional design for industrial. But just using the barrels with the campfire on top of them almost acts like logs on top. So I like to use that design a lot. Obviously you have your chests here, and this is just really good for storage. Now that we've finished the industrial section, we're going to go ahead and move on to our final section, which is going to be like exterior and just like design for outdoor areas. First off, for the exterior design, we have like almost a hanging seat. If you do decide to use these vines at the top, you'll have to place string around. I went to start recording and then realized the vines were covering the entire build. So you will want to put string around to try and keep the vines from expanding. Obviously, I have my string to the left, my string to the right, and then my string below it to keep it from moving down. This is only in creative because if I go here and I leave F1, obviously this is going to be a barrier block because you have to put the barrier here for it to take this, and then you have to put the rail up here and then destroy that once both of these are ramped up. So this will be a creative only design. Sadly, I mean, I really like it. I think it would be cool in survival, but unless you have some way to get it to work, it's not going to function, which sucks. But yeah, just using like this log here is almost like a holder, and then the chain which holds this like standing or hanging chair. Next up, we have a pretty simple hay bale design. You'll notice that this fence here has a lead on it. Basically, what I had to do was take this hay and then hide a chicken under it. But yeah, so that's gonna be the only way to get the lead to work, is if you kind of leave this block open in the middle, that back here. and place something small like a chicken in it. Obviously, you'll hear it the whole time. Obviously, you can't hear it on here because I have the game sound muted, but it is yelling at me right now. But yeah, just uses a lot of hay bales, and then can use some campfires to try and give it some more shape. And then the lantern here for lighting, as well as some signs here just to kind of hold the hay back. But yeah, it can be used in like a lot of farm designs. If you want to like update a village, you can put this in the village instead of like the normal weird hay bale stack that it usually has. But once again, not a functional design, just a decorative design. Next up, we have like a storage cart. This uses a lot of the bamboo just to act as like almost, I would say almost like sugarcane blocks is what I would view it as. They look more like sugarcane than they do bamboo. So yeah, but there's no storage here. Once again, this is completely decorative. You have more bamboo under here as well as under here. Oh, so yeah, just uses this spruce slab down here, and then this oak trapdoor acts as like the wheel. And then you have two gates here to act as almost the connectors to whatever cart it would be behind. And then obviously all of the bamboo up here. I do have the moss carpet just to try and keep it from being just all one level. But yeah, pretty simple design. Not incredibly resource heavy. Uses quite a bit of like the spruce trapdoors, but as long as it's not like the iron or copper trapdoors, I think it's not that bad because you don't have to go mining for it. You just have, you know, the trees around you. So yeah. Next up, we have like this overpass, not overpass design, but like this little hut, or just kind of, I don't know what they're called, the little roof thing. Just using the mud, the packed mud brick walls. That's hard to say. And then using a lot of spruce and quite a bit of campfires just to try and keep it, you know, here. These are the mangrove leaves. I don't think it matters what leaves you use as long as they're like the green ones. You could probably use the cherry leaves, like the pink ones, but I'm not sure that it would work as well. But overall, just pretty simple design. Quite a bit wood heavy, and then getting the campfires is kind of annoying to craft. But other than that, pretty simple and pretty easy to recreate. Here I have a smaller, less resource heavy wheelbarrow design. Here just uses one gate as it's only one block wide, and then I just have it open to kind of connect. You have the same oak trapdoor wheel and then the same, you know, back half. We have a barrel here which is hidden by the trapdoors. You can't get it from the top due to this brown carpet, but essentially you'll have two barrels in here. So this is actually more functional than the big one, and takes up less space. So it can be pretty easy to place around. You can probably put a bunch of these down. You can use the different wood kinds as well. Like you probably make a birch one pretty simply. You probably make a jungle one, you know, all that. So it doesn't have to just be the spruce design. It's just the spruce is the easiest for me to recreate as it matches with the barrels better and the campfire. Just the shade of brown that it is, it works better with, you know, the blocks that I'm using. So spruce is pretty common for me to use, spruce and stone. Obviously, I know a lot of people use that color palette, but it's the best that Minecraft gives us, so it's what we have to work with. Up next, we have like a hanging plant design. So you have these fences connected to the walls with chains coming down, and then you have just trapdoors surrounding a moss block here with a flower. I chose the torch flower because it was cooler. I don't think the torch flowers serve a purpose. I don't know anything about the sniffers. I know it's a sniffer flower. That's about all I know. But just using a sign here to almost hold it off. I didn't want to use another trapdoor as it's already pretty trapdoor heavy. This one does have to be down. So if you're going to do like a 2 tall bush, you're going to need essentially almost 3 blocks, because this one will be cut off by the trapdoor. So you'll have that and then the moss and then the sign. But pretty simple. May work better for like an interior, almost like an interior, like inside. Say you have like a courthouse, like a courtyard. It might work inside a courtyard, like hanging off the walls of whatever. So yeah. Next up, we have a pretty common scarecrow design. I used a lectern here just because the way that it kind of fits in a bit more, because it has this little thing at the bottom and it actually connects instead of just putting a trapdoor down and hoping no one looks behind it. Using gates here as the arms works a bit better, although I wouldn't recommend you open it because it wouldn't work very well. Obviously using the carved pumpkin here, and then you can use slabs as, or sorry, one slab and a bunch of trapdoors here to kind of get the hat design. If you're going to make it not on a wall, I'd recommend putting this orange banner on the back end as well, just to try and cover up more of the lectern. And then obviously you'll want to put the trapdoor behind it as well. But pretty simple, pretty easy to recreate, and not incredibly resource heavy, so I would recommend doing this if you're doing like a farm design or anything in that manner. Next we have like almost like a cooking design, I would say. It's just like holding a cauldron, which would be holding meat or whatever, over a campfire, using the black stone walls and spruce fences, as well as just kind of using this overpass of spruce, dark oak to hold this, and then another spruce fence. Pretty simple to recreate. Obviously it has the chain and the cauldron here, so it does require a little bit of iron, but nothing too crazy compared to like all the industrial ones, which took a ton. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend building this against the wall, because like I said, the wall and the fences will all connect to it, and it'll just look awkward. So probably better to, if I were to place it like here, that way you could get an idea for it. But pretty simple. It's just it's like a 3x1 design here. So yeah, it doesn't take a ton of resources and looks pretty decent and can fit in a lot of different scenarios. Here we have almost like an outdoor seating. I guess this would be almost more like a fairy tale. Obviously around here would probably be more grass, so you probably wouldn't have to place this grass block here, but I had to for this is the big drip leaf. Y'all probably know that already. But if you stand on the carpet here, the drip leaf doesn't fall, which is good. So essentially these campfires are like the seats, and the banners are like the back of the chairs. So it works out pretty well for design. My only annoyance with it is that the banner doesn't actually connect to it. But if this is more of like a fairy tale design, I think that might be the least of your worries. But yeah, pretty simple outdoor seating design. Can be used for a bunch of different things. If you're doing an outdoor or like fantasy based restaurant or something like that, you could definitely use this. Finally, we have an outdoor well design here. Just using a lot of the stone brick, as well as obviously some water, and then a lot of spruce up here. Pretty simple. A bit more decorative compared to, you know, the basic Minecraft wells, which are essentially just a 3x3 with a hole in the middle. This has a bit more decoration to it, which gives it a better look. Obviously has the lighting with the lanterns, so hopefully nothing will spawn in it or on it. But you can obviously just place like a lantern up here if you need to for that coverage. But that is going to be our final design here, so I'm going to go ahead and shift into the outro. I'd like to thank everyone for watching today. Obviously, it's a bit of a longer video. I didn't expect it to take so long to cover, you know, 30 small things, but trying to explain each thing and what its purpose is or lack of purpose takes a bit longer than I thought. Next week's video, I'm hoping if I can get the setup done in time. I did get a comment on last week's video asking me to try and use some of these wall designs in a larger scale build, like a genuine build. So I have begun work on that. I am about, I'd say 40% done. I've done a lot of the wall parts. I just have to do the central area now. Obviously you'll see that next week hopefully, but it will not be a time lapse. If y'all want time lapse videos, I need support on those when I release them. The ones I have released have received, they're my 2 lowest viewed videos. So to me, it doesn't make sense to keep creating those time-lapse videos if they're not going to go over well. So if y'all want time-lapse videos, let me know, and I will work to try and get some more out. But I haven't seen the support at all, so I just haven't worked towards it. But yeah, hopefully I'll see y'all next week, and hopefully you'll see more designs like this in use. So, deuces.